I was young. No other girl held your favour the way I did. I half expected you to alight on the church and forbid my vows on my wedding day. I wore a pink satin sash. But you didn't come.
Grandma?
Yes, I was an old lady when I wrapped you in blankets. At Grandma. My 13-year-old granddaughter asleep in the bed. Moira. And when you saw her, that was when you decided not to go back to Neverland.
Where?
To Neverland.
Moira! Grant, I'm gonna go get Moira.
Did I have tried to tell you so many
Give us
times?
a cup of tea, ready.
And I knew you would have forgotten.
Listen, I'm not ready to
Now
deal
I
with this
must,
right now.
Peter.
What?
The stories are true. I swear to you. I swear on everything I adore. And now he's come back to seek his revenge. The fight isn't over for Captain James Hook. He wants you back. He knows you'll follow Maggie and Jack to the ends of the earth and beyond. And by heaven, you must find a way. Only you can save your children. Somehow you must go back. You must make yourself remember.
Remember what?
Peter, don't you know who you are? Yes, boy. Yes.
What's going on, ladies and gents in Cyberland? Coming back to another film review, and this time we're moving on to a very special film for me. Something from Steven Spielberg that I didn't realize it was by him until way later in life, but yeah. Look. So I remember back in elementary that somewhere we had rented a movie and it showed this trailer at the beginning and it showed Robin Williams like zooming into him, but it said what would happen if if Peter Pan grew up. And I was just like, I knew Peter Pan because of the cartoon animated film from Disney. However, I didn't know how big the folklore had gone with that character in the story. And anyway, fast forward, I think a year later, so the film had already been in theaters. We never saw it, but I was able to see it on HBO. I recorded it. Back then we would record with VHS, these tapes, and I watched it, and it was really good. I really liked it. Very had action. Really a good story. It was sad at times, but everybody in there was very enjoyable. I enjoyed the cast, and I felt Dustin Hoffman, outside of Jason Isaacs, I believe, I've never seen a Hook that incredible. I thought he was just wonderful with what he did, and how he brought the character to life. I mean, he was really menacing, very scary. But even at times, he had a side to him that showed he could be different if given the right circumstance. I think that was interesting. As far as Julie Roberts, she was great. The late Robin Williams was wonderful, especially the other cast, the kids and such, and good old Rufio. It was lighthearted at times, and then dark at times, and then those moments where you were like watching it, you'd be like, oh well, the scenery would look lighthearted and look very alive, but the what was going on in that scene was rather dark when you really looked back at it in retrospect. It was also one of the first times I had seen at such a young age where I saw a kid get killed. That was not common in any films I had seen, even rated R films. That's one thing that never really got touched, was kids being killed on screen. It would allude to it, but it was never shown on screen. So seeing that for the first time was shocking too. I wasn't emotional about it, but I was just like, oh wow, it was just like, this actually happened. And I remember when we saw it, I was in elementary, and I think it was third grade, if not fourth. We watched it in class, and it was the same thing. I think a couple students in the class didn't expect that. And looking back on it, such that an early time for that to even be done. I'm pretty sure Spielberg got a lot of shit, because I've read over the years that he got a lot of shit for this film. For whatever reason, I felt the film was just what it intended to be. Just give a perspective on what would happen if Peter Pan grew up. How would he act? How would he be, probably? And then what drove him to become that person in the first place, like as a kid. I really liked how Spielberg was able to craft that and with the story and with the characters. The only thing that I felt was lacking, and I've always wondered this, is what happened to John and Michael, because we know we hear discussion about Toodles, we see Toodles, but what happened to John and Michael? Like, just what happened to him? I feel Spielberg dropped the ball with that. I felt he should have. They didn't have to be in the movie, but it would have been nice just to say, where are they? We never hear any mention of them. We never see. If we saw pictures, we don't know if that's them. It's never addressed. So I kind of felt like that should have been in the movie, just to say, well, Wendy, or just something about where were their whereabouts. Did they? How when it was a holiday season, so were they there? Could they have been there? It was just stuff like that. It was just stuff like that. It was that was my only gripe. Oh, the late Bob Hoskins too. he did a wonderful job as Smee too. Everybody was great. I never disliked anything about the film. I know that critics were whatever, but they didn't like it. But every time, it's just something. It's like the urban legend kind of thing of films or something. When it gets brought up, it's like all of us light up and say it was a great film. And it's one I really would hope that if I ever ran into Steven Spielberg at some point in my life, that I would it'd be nice to tell him, man, you've done a lot of great films, but I gotta say, like, out of all his films, I felt the most magical and the one that grabbed me the most as a kid was Hook. I mean, Indiana Jones, which I'll get to that at one point, and Saving Private Ryan and Jurassic Park, and he's done a lot of great films, but I always felt like what grabbed me as a kid with him before I eventually started to branch out into his other works was Hook. And I think he did a marvelous job with it, and I think it really holds up in regards to Peter Pan folklore, because there hasn't been a lot of films of Peter Pan, that have been pushed. So, if you've never seen it, I'd say check it out. It's fun, it's heartfelt, it's witty, and it does have some menacing moments in it too. So, that being said, my rating. I give it an 8 out of 10 yes sirs. I just felt I wouldn't give it's not perfect, but for what it was fun, and it's a film that I've watched with my kids. It's a film that I can watch from time to time, so I still enjoy it to this day. So that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care.